in the Northeast and losing our boys daily and our girls in the protection of us, the citizens, and our borders. But yes, so the police is one. The other is how the vulnerable in our society are treated by the society. And by that I mean the state and the individuals within the state, the community as a whole. You find that people who have mental health issues there's no safety net. If they don't have relatives to assist, then they're left wandering on the streets, totally without protection. The state should step in and ensure those human beings have human rights, which means a right to shelter, to food, to treatment when they are unwell, including mental health, because that's, ill health as much as physical ill health is. We also need to look at what happens to children. We've talked about that. But children in abusive situations at home or in domestic servitude, the law does not permit it. But are we enforcing those laws? So the state really needs to work harder at ensuring that all these beautiful laws we have on our statute books actually translate to the rights of citizens being enforced on a day-to-day basis. I have to commend Lagos State, because Lagos State has been working very hard to protect the citizens who are domiciled in this state, and it really should go nationwide.
Let's come to your constituency, the judiciary. Do you think that the judiciary is doing enough to protect human rights in the country?
I think the judiciary, in the circumstances, are doing an excellent job. We don't praise them enough, I have to say. And it's really sad, because when we compare the working conditions here to the working conditions elsewhere, and what they have to do in order to get their job done, we are mostly unfair to them. I was in court recently, and the witness was a child witness. The judge, first of all, literally moved the court to the witness box in order to hear this child. In the circumstances, did everything possible to make the child comfortable. But it was clear to everyone in that room that that child should not have been in the box in the first place. And that's what we're talking about, human rights. How is it that a child who has suffered an assault, in this case defilement, is put in a box as you would an adult, a child who is below the age of 10, frightened, facing the alleged abuser in the courtroom, and having to give evidence of this traumatic incident. Of this traumatic incident. This is the reality of our courtroom. Now, what can the judge do about that? Except we change the procedure and change and give sufficient, put sufficient resources into making a child-friendly space for child witnesses. So the judge will do what he or she can in the circumstances, which was to move closer and try and speak to the child. Don't worry, do you want me to take my glasses off? Will that make you comfortable? And so on. But beyond that, that child still has to stand in that witness box and testify. And it's just plain wrong. Children should not be subjected to that. It's a double assault. The law has gray areas. So for instance, we don't have a minimum age across the board where girls, you cannot marry off a little girl. There's such provisos as if with the parents' permission. So effectively, in Nigeria, with the parents' permission, you could marry a 5-year-old. You could marry a 3-year-old. You could marry a newborn.
Scandalous.
It is scandalous. Effectively, there's that loophole which we must close. If the law says, and there's laws that says, oh, you can marry, but you cannot marry or have sexual intercourse with a boy child who is, I think, is below the age of 12. So let's even start from there. Human rights for boys, human rights for girls, equality across the board. Have that as a minimum bar across the board. And then we must move away from hiding, cloaking abuse with religion or culture. It is wrong. And as a nation, we should not tolerate abuse of our children, whatever guise. No religion says that children should be abused. No culture that says that is saying that from a place of knowledge. Once upon a time, we used to throw away twin babies because of ignorance. It was culture. But as soon as the culture understood that there was nothing wrong with twins and, you know, they were actually human babies, we moved on. And now twins are considered a blessing. So culture is dynamic. Now we know that certain things are simply wrong. We've got the statistics to show it. We cannot continue to practice these things. So that's an aspect that we have to look at when we're celebrating. The lawmakers and government as a whole, educating the community. Because parents, every parent loves his or her child. They want the best for the children. When they give away their little girls in early marriages, which are harmful to the little girls, it's because they think it's good for them. And so they need to be educated.
But you also say that we need to tinker with the laws to make
absolutely, across the board. I think 18 minimum.
No provisor saying
no provisor saying no. Absolute 18 years old and not below.